Hello, I'm Mike Zagata. We've spent 9 weeks together learning about young forest habitat and the fact that we're losing it at an alarming rate. So the question becomes, what are we going to do about it? The first step in addressing any crisis is to recognize that a crisis exists. Many of the wildlife professionals in academia, state and federal agencies, and in conservation organizations now recognize the problem and have taken steps to quantify the magnitude of that problem, set goals for the recovery of those species via the Ruffed Grouse Conservation Plan and the American Woodcock Conservation Plan, which spawned the Woodcock Initiative. We need to engage in active, ecologically sound forest management. The Sustainable Forestry Initiative, which is a national umbrella organization, is in place to help us manage our forest for sustainable yield of both wood and wildlife. They can provide the umbrella for the management of public lands, including local, state, and federal, and private lands, including the industrial forest lands and the private non-industrial forest lands. We need to look at a system of incentives that will encourage people to manage their forest lands in a way that is sustainable for both wood and wildlife, and we need to develop techniques to help them do that. One of the things that's very important is to encourage landowners to avoid high grading, where we come in and cut one tree or a group of trees of high value, because that system simply doesn't create a large enough hole in the canopy to allow enough sunlight to reach the forest floor and thus create young forest habitat. When we allow high grading, we lose our leverage to get the logger to come back and cut the less desirable wood. More desirable techniques from a wildlife standpoint include clear cutting or versions of that called shelter wood or seed tree cuts. Generally, when we're doing a cut for wildlife, it's in the area average of 7 to 10 acres. And if you revisit that cutover area and see what it looks like in 3, 5, and 10 years, you'll be amazed. It has become thick and lush, and it'll be teeming with wildlife. Less work has been done with regards to how we're actually going to meet the goals in those plans. That involves securing a source of funding. We may look for federal money from the National Fish and Wildlife Foundation and state money that comes from the license sales and federal aid, which is an excise tax on firearms and ammunition. And we need to create incentives on private lands to get the private landowners to manage their land for wildlife. Some of the things we can do there is have the coverage program that we talked about, where we educate those landowners. What created the habitat boom of the 60s that we talked about in an earlier section? It was economic forces that forced the farms to be abandoned. Well, why can't we use economics today to provide an incentive to allow property tax for landowners who manage for wildlife, or tax credits for landowners who manage for wildlife? You might say, well, why should the public support a landowner who manages for wildlife? And it's really a very simple answer. Because having healthy wildlife populations provides societal benefits, it provides tourism dollars to the rural communities, and it provides for the sale of licenses to help fund the state fish and wildlife agencies. If you're interested in learning more or joining RGS, please visit our website or give us a call.